If you want food that's healthy and delicious, this is it.
This Banchan's Japanese barbecue sauce is the hottest condiment to hit the market since ketchup. So in this video, we're taking weeknight dinner to the next level with insanely delicious salmon bites made super easy in the air fryer. I'm gonna glaze them with the barbecue sauce for a rich, umami-packed flavor that's out of this world. And to make it a complete meal, we're building a bowl with fluffy rice and a delicious avocado, edamame, and cucumber salad. It's quick, it's healthy, and it's super easy. For the full ingredient list, check the description box below, but enough talking. Let's get cooking. Before we even talk about the salmon, we gotta make our rice and our salad. Let's start with the rice. For rice, we're gonna use a jasmine rice. You could also use a sushi rice because it kind of goes along with the whole theme of the dish. But let's use this jasmine rice. I'm gonna measure out 1 cup of this rice right over the strainer because we're gonna wash our rice. Now I'm gonna wash the rice until the water runs clean. We wanna get the starch off the rice so it's not too sticky and clumpy after we cook it. You can see a lot of the water that's running out of this rice right now is a little cloudy, and we're just gonna keep rinsing it until the water starts to look a little bit more clear. I like to spread the rice out in the strainer and use the spray function on the spout to rinse it off and really get all that starch off. I can even go in there with my hand and move the rice around and really give it a nice scrub. You can see now that the water running is way more clear than it was when we first started washing it, so this is about good enough. Here in this small sauce pot, we're gonna dump in our rice. We're gonna pour in 1.5 cups of water. That's what it says on the directions. Follow whatever directions are on the rice that you're using. And then with rice, you always want to use a nice pinch of salt. And I like to put in just a little oil, just a drop or two. You can also use butter, but I think oil works way better. So now we're gonna give this a cover with a nice tight fitting lid, and we're gonna put this on the stove and steam it. There we go. Now that our rice is going, let's make our edamame cucumber avocado salad. So let's start off with our edamame. Here I got some frozen and shelled edamame. This is the fastest, easiest way to make a lot of edamame. And how I like to defrost these and cook them is to put them inside of a glass snap top lid with a little vent hole. This one, the little lid thing broke off, so it's perfect. It's already open. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up the bag and just dump the frozen edamame right in there. I'm gonna put in a tiny amount of water, maybe like a tablespoon. Now I'm gonna put the lid on and I'm gonna put these in the microwave for a couple minutes until they are nice and steamed. Let's start with our cucumbers. So for cucumbers here, I got these little Persian cucumbers. You can use the big cucumbers too. They totally work fine. Either way, we're gonna give them a light peel and remove most of the skin. When I like to cut cucumbers, I always take off a little bit of the skin, but not all of it. I like to tiger stripe it. I think it lends the cucumber to giving it like a little bit of texture on the outside. And we're gonna do that for all these cucumbers. Now we're gonna cut the ends off. And I want this salad to eat really finely, so we're gonna continue to cut these down. We're gonna slice them in half, and then we're gonna slice them in half again so we get these nice little quarters. And now I can just cut them all together at the same time. So they come out to these nice little triangles, very bite size. Everything in this salad is gonna be about the same size. Let me show you how I like to dice an avocado. How you know if an avocado is ripe. Not only should it have a little bit of squish to it, you should have the button on top. I never buy them without the button on top, and that should just be able to come right off. And then once that does, you know that the avocado is ripe. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the avocado in half. I'll find where it sits flattest. I'll push the knife until it hits the pit. And now I'll turn the avocado all the way around, find my original line, and then we'll split and open the avocado in half. Nice sharp stroke to the pit, little bit of a turn, and we'll take that right out. If I was gonna slice the avocado thinly, I would take the rind off. Here, we're gonna dice it, so I actually wanna keep it on. And what I like to do, and I wanna be really careful with this to not use too much pressure because my hand's gonna be right on the other side, is I'm gonna take the knife and I'm gonna use the edge of the knife or the tip of the knife to drag and find the inside of the avocado. And now I'm gonna do that and create these lines across the avocado as wide as I wanna cut it. And you wanna make sure that you don't push too hard because you can go right through the avocado and slice your hand wide open. But I find that if you use proper pressure, shouldn't have a big deal with it. Now we'll turn the avocado the other way and I'll go across again using the tip of my knife to drag on the inside of the avocado. So now you can see that the avocado is already diced and inside the peel. Now I just need to take a spoon and run it along the inside of the peel of the avocado. And now you get diced avocado and then the peel. Now we'll repeat that for the other half. Nice and easy. Our edamame are all done. I put them in the microwave for about 4 minutes with the lid on, but I make sure to leave the vent open, otherwise this thing will explode. And you can see that these are steamed and they are cooked all the way through, and it only took a couple minutes. So now I'm gonna take these and we'll dump them right inside the bowl with the avocado and the cucumber. There's still a little bit of water on the bottom of these, so I'm trying not to dump that water in there. Now let's make a little dressing for this salad. So we're going to start off with some low sodium soy sauce. Now we're going to put a little seasoned rice vinegar and some sesame oil. Give these a little whisk together and pour this right inside of our salad. And now before we mix it all together, I'm gonna put a pinch of salt and a little fresh ground black pepper. And while I'm mixing it up, I'm breaking up all the little chunks of avocado that are still a little stuck together. See, this one I could have pushed the knife a little further all the way through. Now in the same container, I steamed the edamame in. We're gonna dump the salad in there so this can sit in the fridge, let all the flavors come together. If you're in a rush, you could serve the salad just like this, but I think it's a little bit better when it's cold and it gets to sit for a little bit in the fridge. So let's put this in the fridge and now let's make our salmon. For this recipe, we're gonna remove the skin from this nice piece of salmon. Normally I would do this with a knife, but I wanted to try out the technique of removing the skin by just using some boiling water and a towel or some paper towel. I got the salmon set up on a baking tray. I got a little paper towel underneath, and I got this raised grate so the salmon's not sitting inside the water. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this paper towel, we're gonna put it on top of the salmon, and you can use a towel too. I'm just gonna use a paper towel to save on wash time. And we're gonna pour boiling water on top of it, and the skin should peel off. I wanna note that I have never done this before. I've seen it done a bunch of times, but only through video, and you never know what you can believe when you're watching videos on the internet. So let's give it a shot and see how it works. I only have this one piece of salmon, so fingers crossed. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this boiling water and pour it on top of the salmon, right on top of the paper towel. And the paper towel is gonna soak up the water and also keep the salmon skin in contact with the paper towel. And I'm just giving it a little bit of a light pour on top. I'm not too sure how long I need to let it sit, but hopefully this happens pretty fast. So I think that should be enough water. I think I should let it sit for a little bit, at least till it's done steaming, because I guess I want the heat to do its thing without cooking the fish. But even here, like the smell's coming off, it smells like cooked fish. Okay, let's see. So I'm gonna take off the paper towel, and now let's see if I can just take the skin and peel it off. And it looks like this actually worked out really well. So if your knife skills aren't too great and you're not too confident in taking off the skin without completely butchering the salmon, it looks like this technique is a great technique. Maybe you can believe what you see on the internet. Look at that. And you can still see that the salmon is completely raw. It's not cooked at all, maybe just singed a little bit, but it's still completely raw and totally uncooked. That technique definitely surprised me that it actually works that well. So now let's trim this into cubes. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this thin part here because I want the cubes to be pretty uniform as far as thickness. This part of the salmon is really thin, so we're just gonna take our knife and run it alongside here, and I'll just save this and cook this for myself for a separate meal. Now we're just working with the thicker part right here. And now before I cut it, I'm gonna check for any pin bones. It seems like we are all good in that department. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slice the salmon into 3 pieces. I think 3 would be good. And now I'll take each one of these and cut them into little cubes. And I'm trying to get these cubes pretty uniform in shape. I mean, they're not gonna be perfect, but as close as possible, because when you cut fish into pieces, you want the fish pieces to be pretty equal so they cook pretty equally. You don't want some overcooked and some undercooked and some perfectly cooked. So if they're all about the same size, they should cook at about the same rate. Now to season the salmon, we're gonna stick super simple. We're gonna start off with just a little bit of olive oil as a binder. And we're gonna go with my tried and true base seasoning. So this is a blend of garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper. And we'll sprinkle that right on top. Now I'm gonna give this a nice mix with my hand so everything's all well coated. And here you can use whatever seasoning you like. Maybe you have a seafood seasoning that you like, or Mrs. Dash is on the table, whatever you got, but you don't need to season it too much. The Bachan barbecue sauce is what we want the star to be. Here I got a baking tray lined with aluminum foil and parchment paper, and this is a baking tray that's gonna go inside my air fryer. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spread these cubes out nice and evenly on the baking tray. Now the air fryer is just a mini convection oven that blows the air around, so we want to make sure that there's room in between to blow the air around. We don't want to overcrowd this. I would rather make 2 batches if I had more salmon than 1 and overcrowd it. And I'm trying to spread these out as evenly as possible. Once we get them all on the tray, we'll see if we need to do any rearranging. Look at that, nice and perfect. 16 pieces, 4x4. So these are gonna go inside the air fryer at about 425 for about 10 minutes. I like a nice high temperature on my salmon because it makes a nice little crispy crust on the outside for the glaze to cling to. So let's get our air fryer going and throw the salmon in. So these are gonna go in for about 10 minutes and then we'll glaze them after they're cooked. So to make our glaze, we only need 2 things. We need the Banchan's barbecue sauce and a little bit of honey. So let's take some of the barbecue sauce. We're gonna put that inside the bowl and a spoonful of this delicious honey. Not too much, just a little bit for some sweetness. So I'm just gonna whisk this all together to incorporate the honey and the barbecue sauce all together. And I'm not too sure why they call this a barbecue sauce. It's more of like a marinade sauce. Barbecue sauce I always think of as thick, and this doesn't really have a lot of thickness to it, but it is an unbelievable condiment. I use this like Japanese ketchup and just pour it on top of everything. It's a very multi-purpose and super delicious. Our salmon is still cooking for a couple more minutes, so let's trim up some scallion greens to garnish this dish. So whenever we're trimming the scallion greens for an Asian garnish, I like to go on a diagonal, so nice and thin with my sharp knife. I'm gonna cut these very diagonal, and I don't really need that many because I like to put the scallions back inside the refrigerator, use them at a different time. That is probably plenty for what we need. So I'll stick the rest of these in the fridge and let's let the salmon finish cooking. So you can see our salmon bites are fully cooked. What I look for is the little bit of the crust that starts to develop on the edges. And you can see that our salmon's not overcooked because none of the white albumin is pouring out of the outsides. Just a couple pieces, it might be coming out the tiniest little bit, and that shows that it's probably perfectly cooked. So now let's take our glaze and we'll just hit each one just right on top. And all I'm doing is dabbing my brush inside of our glaze and just putting a little bit on each piece. And I'm doing this all in the air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, you can do this just in the oven on the convection setting on. And if you don't have an oven with a convection setting, just use the regular oven. You might just have to add a little bit more time to the cook. But the convection setting in the air fryer especially, makes a really fast and good crust on the outside of these. So I'm gonna put these back in the air fryer for just 1 more minute just to tack up the glaze on the outside. So just 1 minute in there and the glaze is tacked on a little bit and it's not burnt on the bottom. So that's got a little sugar in it and so does the honey. If I put it in there for too long, the bottom would start to get burnt. So we definitely want to take it out before, but these are good to go. Let's let these cool down for a few minutes and then let's build our bowl. And now our edamame cucumber avocado salad. Before we plate this, I'm just gonna mix it up so it's nice and well coated with that dressing that we made before. And now a couple pieces of this salmon. I just want to show you, look how delicious this looks. So let's take a look at this salmon. You can see that it's nice and perfectly cooked. It's nice and crusty on the outside. So that's that beautiful brown color that we talk about. The albumin is not oozing out the outside. So let's plate this and I'll just take a couple pieces and put them right on the top. Now to finish this plate, we'll take a couple of white sesame seeds, sprinkle them right over the top of the salmon. I like to go tuxedo and add a little bit of the black sesame seeds. I like the contrast of the white and the black sesame seeds. And now a little bit of those scallion greens that we cut up. And now how amazing does this little bowl look? Healthy, delicious, loaded with protein, vegetables, unprocessed carbs. This is about as delicious and as healthy as you can get. I am super excited to try this. Let's see how it came out. First, just take a look at our salmon. So let's break one of these open. Nice and flaky. And you can see it's got a little shimmer on the inside. This is not hammered and dry. This is still very juicy, super delicious. Let's get a little bit of everything on one bite. So a little bit of the rice, some of our salmon, and our edamame cucumber and avocado salad. And actually, before I try this, what I want to do is put a little bit of this more on top. Let's give this a nice squirt. Now this bite is ready to go. That is so good. If you want food that's healthy and delicious, this is it. Because it didn't take a whole lot of effort. It's super good. And the salmon's super high in protein, the rice unprocessed carb. That salad was just mix a couple things. I mean, this is super delicious. And this banchan sauce. This is the best new product I've tried in a really long time. And this stuff is here to stay. This tastes so good, you could put this on anything. Even the rice and the edamame cucumber avocado salad all by itself, that's so good. While I'm finishing the rest of this bowl, check out my ahi tuna bowl. That's a really similar recipe, similar format, but a different kind of fish. Maybe you're into the ahi tuna and that's what you're looking for, and I'll see you there. Thanks.